Okay, so we have about a half hour, 40 minutes to go over how you can get the word out for your business through public relations. And just to give you a little bit of information about myself first, do you want to forward that? My name is Holly Paddock, and I'm the president of On the Horizon Communications. We're a full-service PR firm. We're based in Pismo, and I've had this company for, it's scary to admit, for 26 years. And I've actually been doing PR for 30 years. So you might want to try and figure out how old I am. 50, I'll be 51, and I've been doing PR for pretty much my entire life. Since about 20, I majored in journalism. And this has got, oh, there it is. So I also, the types of clients we focus on in my PR business are companies that are in health and wellness and outdoor and fitness. They mirror my personal interests. So, and I also wear another hat. I'm an Ayurveda practitioner, and I've been practicing Ayurveda for about 10 years now. And I'm also a yoga instructor, and I've been doing yoga for pretty much my entire adult life. And I was a massage therapist. So so many of my friends have asked me over the years, can you help me figure out how to do this PR, this public relations stuff? Acronym would be PR. And, you know, I do it for massage or for this or that, or just help them out. So I finally decided, well, I'm going to kind of merge my two worlds by teaching you how to do public relations for your holistic health business. So that's kind of, so I'm basically in touch with both worlds, I feel, and can be of service to you through that. So that's basically a snapshot of who I am and what I do. And do you want to forward that one? So public relations, I always refer to it as PR because I've been in this world for so long, and I forget that most people don't really know what PR means. They might think it means press release. Loosely referred to as public relations. And it's, there's so many different definitions for PR, but here's this one that I like. It's a strategic communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between organizations and their publics through media coverage. So basically, you know, the way I look at it, it's a way to kind of get the word out for your business where you don't have to spend any money. So when you get editorial coverage or write-up on a new massage service you're doing, or an event you have, or a new protocol that you're offering, or the new hair service, when you work with editorial media, that doesn't cost you anything once you get that coverage. So if you put an ad in the same magazine that you're getting the coverage in, say, it's going to cost you $300, $500, $1,000. So it's no cost when you get that coverage, but you just have to know how to work with this media. When I use the word media in the public relations sense, I'm talking about editors, reporters, writers, bloggers, journalists. So you just need to know the steps to take to work with them so that they will use your information. So that's kind of the loose definition of what PR is. And how does it differ from advertising? Like I just said, advertising, it's paid. You have to pay for that. PR, it's free, except for whatever legwork you need to do. Next slide, please. So just to kind of recap a few points I made, it's a cost-effective way to reach your target audience. So you don't even need to mail press releases out anymore. These are little write-ups, and we're going to go over a press release in a moment, because everything is email, so it's really inexpensive. And once you get coverage in a publication like, well, Central Coast Magazine is no longer, unfortunately, but this was, you know, I got myself, they had to PR myself, I got myself a huge feature article in Central Coast Magazine a couple of years ago, and what did it cost me? $0. I have like a 3-page spread in here, so you know, it's good to try and do your own PR on occasion for me, for myself too.
Anymore?
I'm sorry?
That doesn't exist
No, they folded. Went out of business about a year and a half ago, or I think one issue after this, actually. So.
But you know how we met last Saturday?
Here, you can just.
I remember you from that. I thought, I know the space in that. It's from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It starts to build that visibility where you might not like get a client immediately from that, but it's
Yeah,
like,
but
oh,
over
I know
time.
her, and then you see me talk, if I gave an Ayurvedic talk, and
That's
then,
why I'm here today, yeah.
yeah. So this is really, just to go back for a second, this is a tool for how you grow your business, you know? How do you get more customers? That's the bottom line, what we're interested in. So this is one of these tools that you can use that, like I said, it's economical, it stimulates awareness, just like Laura was saying. She knew me from somewhere. We saw each other at a social event last week, and she's like, where do I know you from? So it stimulates awareness, and it's a demand for your services or your product, if you are making some sort of product. And that eventually equates to more customers and more sales. So, and it's like an endorsement of who you are and what you do. So when you place an ad, people are pretty savvy. They know that you place that ad. Nothing wrong with that, but they know it's paid for. When you get that coverage in like a magazine like that, it's like, wow, you know, that person's got a lot of credibility. People look at that and they see it as this media endorsing you or me, and so that's huge. You know? And then you can take that type of material, and if you have a website, you can put it on your website, you can put it in your waiting room, so it kind of can be useful for years. And that magazine came out 2 years ago, and I see it. I went into a financial planner's office like a few months ago. It was sitting there. It's like, it's from 2 years ago, and people are reading it because it's, you know, interesting.
Picture too.
So, it has a lot, PR has a public relations, PR, it has legs. So, you know, it strengthens the image into perception, like I just said. It paints a picture of a company that's active, that's innovative, because people are reading about you. You're out there, you're doing things, so it helps you to stand apart from your competitors. And let's face it, there's a lot of holistic practitioners in the area, and if you take that extra step, you're going to stand out. We talked about credibility, we talked about your competitors. So basically, as I said, it helps you to grow your business. So next step. So you may ask, well, how? Well, now that this sounds great, but how do I do it? So there's a lot of different tools in public relations. You know, we have a whole toolkit. But one of the key components is a press release. And have most of you heard of a press release before? Mm-hmm. Okay. So what is it exactly? It's a document. It's a write-up on whatever it is that you're offering. It's not background information on your company. It's compelling write-up on something new that you're doing. So, and it's a one-page document. I have the do's and don'ts. So I'm going to go through those, and we're doing really well time-wise. So, basic do's and don'ts of a press release. And I'm going to show you an example of a press release too. So that will be helpful. And I have that here too. So you want to have something new or compelling to announce. In order to get coverage, your release has to be newsworthy. So, like I said, it's not just going to be like, hey, I'm here, and I'm a naturopath, and I'm here. That's sort of like journalists would say, well, who cares? So you have to have something newsworthy, like the women's symposium that you held. That's very newsworthy. So a new event, or the Sukha open house, that's newsworthy. Or she's having, Mary Sage and David are having a yoga nidra next week, which helps about rest and sleep. How many people are sleep deprived and restless? And so that could be something that could be worked into a feature story, perhaps, for media. Or if you just moved your office, that could be newsworthy. Or you just are introducing a new product that you're carrying, or you're going to be offering a Qigong class or something. That's all newsworthy. So, and anytime you have something like that, you should be getting it out to media. And we don't have time today to talk about like how far in advance, but you want to time things. And I'm going to be offering a class later where I'm going to go into more detail about that. So first you have something that's compelling and newsworthy, and you can just make a list to yourself. Okay, what do I have that's new or that's compelling or that's coming up? What could be something that would be cool for me to open the new time strokes and plugs and go, I could see this fitting in there. Then you want to write a headline that's relevant and catchy. So I have a sample release we're going to look at in a minute, but this is a headline right here. Can you kind of see that? You have a headline. You have a for immediate release, and you have a headline. So this was, I gave an Ayurvedic workshop. I just grabbed a random release, so this is from like 4 years ago. It says, Introduction to Ayurveda workshop provides tools for healthy living. Right away, I told them what it is and what's going on. I didn't just say Ayurveda workshop. So, or healthy living workshop. I mean, I kind of gave the point right there. So you want to have a headline that gives as many details as possible, but you don't want it to be like 5 sentences. You want it just to go across the page. So a journalist can look at it and go, okay, I see what's going on. It's easy to follow. So it determines whether the journalist is really going to read the rest of your release. If it's really garbled and 5 sentences are going to go, I don't have time to deal with this. These journalists, they don't have, when I say journalists, I mean everybody from editors, writers at newspapers and magazines, to anchor people or reporters at television, to radio, online media, even bloggers. I'm not talking about social networking like Facebook or Twitter right now. So, but they are also busy, and a lot of their staff, has been cut over the last several years. So you really have to get your message concise and to the point. So you get that headline. And they think, okay, well, this sounds interesting, let me read up. So now you want to make sure your sentences and your paragraphs are short and easy to read. Nobody wants to read a huge book, that's single-spaced and 1,000 words. It's going to get trashed. So you see how short this is? It's not that long. This is actually only like 270 words. You want to try and keep your press releases to like 400 words, unless you really have some amazing feature story. But you want to write it in what we call, in journalism, reverse pyramid style. So you think of a reverse pyramid. You have your most important information at the top, and then it kind of goes down from there. So, for example, with this press release, my first paragraph was learn how to eat well and stay healthy this fall with a 5-session introduction to Ayurveda workshop offered at Smiling Dog Yoga Studio, Thursdays, etc., etc. So right away I said what it was. I didn't say, like one of my last paragraphs is, Holly Paddock has a private Ayurvedic practice in Royal Grande. Now if I started with that, they would be like, well, I'm kind of burying my lead. It's like, well, what is this about? Forget it, I don't want to deal with that. So right away, you have your main facts. And why this is important, not only does it help for the journalist to clearly see what's going on quickly, but they can take your information and verbatim just cut and paste it and stick it into the publication. So, or if they're a reporter or TV, they can just, read that pretty much. And that's great. They're more and more likely to use it. If you make their job easy, then it's, you increase your chances of getting coverage. So you want to write it.
Well, I think it might have been too short. I thought it would be like a paragraph at most, so they'd kind of throw it to the side, but I didn't know we could go into that much depth. I just, boom, here's the event, and here's
that's why you want to write it like that reverse pyramid style, because they might not take the whole thing.
Yeah.
They may only have space for this paragraph.
But we can go longer than just the paragraph. I mean, that's quite a bit longer than I thought.
Well,
I mean, so I can expand.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But so that's a really great point, though, Laura, because you want as much of your information as possible in your first paragraph, because they might only take the first paragraph. So I have my who, what, when, where pretty much in my first paragraph.
That was kind of like the way I thought too.
Yeah.
Just keep it very brief, very concise, but very,
And then you can start to, so you think of what's most important first, what's second, what's third, what's fourth, and am I covering my who, what, when, where, and why? And then, so then if they do just use a little bit, they have it all right there, they don't have to search for it, right? And then they decide to use a little bit more. It's like, oh, this is interesting, I think I'll include a second paragraph. And then they decide to use more, so they might end up using the whole thing. But if they don't, you have all the main details right there, so they just can grab it and use it. Or they don't have to search through it and then go, oh, forget it, I'm not going to deal with this. But you might have some really interesting information, so you want more. Because on the other hand, if you just put, okay, I'm offering a women's symposium and it's on Saturday at 5, then it's like, well, what's that? So you want a little bit more, to support that first paragraph. Okay, so
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Thank you.
Okay. So, anybody overwhelmed yet? You guys okay? All right. Next slide, please. Okay, so you always want to have just basic stuff, but you want to make sure you have the name, contact name and information, like who should they call for more information. So like right here I have my name, my phone number, and my email address. And I would say put your if you have a website, put that up there too. So it's easy to find. And it's easier for the media to read a press release if it's in a standardized press release format. So you see how you can kind of tell that this is like double, 1.5 space is what I usually use, or 2 spaces you can use. So it's just easier on the eyes. And if you go to my website, it's thepressroom.com. I have like 100 press releases out there, so you could just, maybe even more. So you can just look at examples of how to format it. Within for immediate release, your headline, San Luis Obispo, or Royal Grande, or Pismo, wherever your city, your date. And then you have a final paragraph that, for more information. Even though you have your contact information up in the top, you can have a final paragraph that says, mine is like Pat has been practicing Ayurveda for whatever many years and sees people for more information. Go to the website or contact her at. So kind of want to have that at the end. And then, now you have your press release written, and again, make sure you're covering your who, what, when, where, why. And you can even write that down for yourself before you write your information. You break it into those little categories and then go through each category, highlight the most important facts in each of those. And then you start to morph it into a press release. So research the media that you're targeting. So if it's a calendar, if it's more of a calendar item, like you have an event coming up, and it could be a feature story too, something that could be just a general interest story and also something that should be listed in calendars. Find out who to send it to. Don't just send it to editor@newtimes.com or info@ksby. Find the person's name. It's easy now to do that legwork with the internet. So use the website, go to their websites, grab the magazines, kind of take a look if you really want more of a feature story. Look what they're doing and send it to the right person. So that's going to go farther than just sending it to editor. So it's good to have a name. And this seems like a no-brainer, but a lot of information, I believe, goes out there with typos and weird grammar structures. And don't forget, you're sending to journalists, and they have like no patience for it. So, and we have a spell checker these days. There's no excuse to have typos. Spell check everything, read it out loud to yourself, have somebody else read it, just make sure it sounds okay. Or write something and put it down for a day, and then read it the next day. It's amazing how many errors you'll find, or how you'll go, oh, that's really awkward sounding, and changing your own, so just to sleep on something. And if you're feeling like, oh, I don't know how to write this, you're feeling a little bit like writer's block, just write anything, write it down, just pretend it doesn't matter, just get it down, and then the next day you'll look at it again. So just to start getting your document on paper. Okay, the next slide. So the don'ts of the press release, like we talked about. You don't want to bury the lead. The lead is that first sentence. Remember, like I said, you want to make sure you have the most important information first. Don't use a lot of adjectives or opinions. You don't want to say, this is a super awesome class. It just doesn't work with journalistic type of writing. Save that for your ad or your flyer. Just the facts. And so that makes it a lot simpler to write if you're really just sticking to the facts. If you're having an opinion, like you want to cite a trend, which is always good in your press release, like if you were doing something on, say that sleep workshop that's next week, and trends say that more and more people are having sleep issues. And you could cite maybe a study in there and quote it, according to Dr. So-and-so, many people walk around sleep deprived. But you want to attribute that to somebody. You just don't want to state opinions in a press release without attributing it to yourself in a quote or to somebody else. Does that make sense? Okay. So just kind of look at how things are written in the paper, and then you'll start to see, okay, this is how I want to write my releases. So you don't want to try and sell anything. You save that for your ads. You don't want to go, buy now, half off today, or if not, because that's, again, it's not journalism, it's advertising. And that is a sure way your editors are going to not read your information. So not using flowery language. So you're going to email out your press releases. This is the way that journalists like to get it these days. And even though we have Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, the primary way that journalists like to get their information still, and I just read 2 studies on this, is by email. Old-fashioned mailing it's not necessary to throw it in the mail anymore, and I think it might stand out that way, but not necessarily. So just email, but you don't want to send it as an attachment, because a lot of journalists won't open attachments, especially from people that they don't know. So you just copy and paste your text into the body of the email. And you can, if you have a cool photo that you want to include that, really supports what you're saying, photos are always good, but you want to keep it into, hopefully you'll understand what I'm saying, more of a low resolution image. Does everybody get that? Okay. So, because if it's something like that's 4 megabytes or something, it's big, yeah, and they won't be able to open it up, or it might even be blocked by.
Would they contact you to ask for a higher
Exactly.
resolution?
Yeah. Exactly. So that's how I always do it with all my clients at my PR firm. We send out a low res in the release itself, and then it's good, because if they decide that they're going to use it, then all of a sudden you get to start a dialogue, which is great. That is the best. So, and again, don't repeat information. So if you have the time of your workshop at the top, you don't need to repeat it again. Just keep it to the point. You don't want to, overdo it. So, and next slide. Okay, so here's an example. Here's that press release that I was just talking about. So I have my contact information there. I have for immediate release, which is telling them that this is a press release. I have my headline. I have San Luis Obispo, California, so they know where I'm based out of or where it's from. And the date. And then I have like 4 or 5 paragraphs, and you can see they're all really short. And normally I double space. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but this, I think, I was having problems getting it to format on the PowerPoint, so it's single spaced. But and I have the website on there as well. So you can just see it's short and sweet, but it has all the info.
And then you've chosen to bold some of this.
Yeah, I like to bold the key points. Just so if they're skimming, they can just see those key points as well.
Okay.
And I would definitely include links to your website if you have a website. Or if you're doing a press release on trends or something, maybe link to some interesting trend. That's for a future class. There's a lot to go over.
I think it's interesting too that the second paragraph explains you, and then Ayurveda is the third
Right.
line instead of just sort of going.
Well, because if you went through Ayurveda first, if it's so complex, so it's more what people are going to be more interested in the topic. So it's okay, Ayurvedic specialist. Okay, that's the
more immediate.
Yeah.
That's the immediate part, and defining Ayurveda is something else.
Exactly, and it's hard with Ayurveda because it's so complex. So I grappled with that, figuring out how to get it out there quickly, and then I just decided not to try and explain Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. It's really, really hard. So I focused more on, I could have even probably taken Ayurveda out of that. Holistic workshop focuses on tools. As I have been into this more, and I realize that. But anyway, yeah. So any other questions about that press release? Okay, let's go to the next slide. So there's a quick checklist. And if you make sure you sign that sheet with my emails, has that been going around to everybody? Because I can send you a copy of this whole PowerPoint presentation. So please make sure, otherwise if I don't have your email, I won't be able to do that. So there's a quick checklist that you can take a look at just to make sure you have everything. You know, the proper tenses, is your lead concise, most interesting aspects of the release first, you know, what's unusual about, what's the most unusual aspect of what you're offering, and make sure that you highlight that. Strong adjectives versus, you know, is and are, was, you want to, not adjectives, I'm sorry, verbs, you know, making it active. Read your release out loud, double check your facts. If you have facts in there, you know, it's the worst thing is to get something on your own event, like the time wrong or something like that. Or there you, one number is off on your phone number because you see it so often that you just glance right through it. So just double check everything.
Email address.
Email, yeah, exactly.
Have many different. All the above.
Yeah, it can happen where
So easy.
it's so easy to get that off by a
The
number.
easy, you think it's so easy and you just type it
Yeah.
in.
And it's embarrassing when an editor tries to get a hold of you. It's like, your email address is
It
wrong.
went to somebody in San Francisco.
Yeah, right. And you might only get that one chance, so you gotta just have everything right. Did you include the appropriate contact info? So there's a quick checklist. And like I said, I'm happy to get this to you.
Thank you.
And, okay, next slide. Okay, so I am gonna be offering a course on helping you to grow your business through public relations. So what I'm going to be doing is 8 workshops. They're going to be webinars, so you can do them in your pajamas or whatever. So, and it's going to be on, like, I think on Tuesday starting in May, and there'll be an hour and 15 minutes in length, and we're going to just go over all different types of public relations techniques. And we're going to go over the press release again as well in a little bit more detail. Next slide. So, like I said, it's going to be online on Tuesdays, and I'm going to record the classes as well. So if for some reason that time doesn't work, or if I have enough people that tell me a different time is good, I'm willing to, I just had to pick a time out of the hat, so I'm willing to change the time as well. So the topics, obviously PR and how to craft your story. So this is only going to be open to people that are in some sort of holistic business, so we can help each other out a bit by using examples that we all can relate to, and talk about individual stories and what might be a good angle and how to do that. More details on how to write a press release. How do you get it out there? You know, when do you send it out? How far in advance does something need to go out? You know, how long does it go out to a magazine versus TV? And is your press release, is it worthy of national coverage, or is it just local coverage? You know, my PR firm, we work with media all around the country, so you have to know the timing. So I'm going to teach you guys the timing and how to write what we call pitch letters, how to write a letter to editors. So you send your release out, and that's great, and it should garner some results, but you want to kind of come up with a whole PR plan. So each month maybe you're sending something out so they start to see your name and become familiar with you. And write down some, what we call pitch letters to, like, pitch your story to them a little bit more, so you can get that feature article or get a little bit more in-depth coverage, and maybe write them a letter and invite them in for a free consult or to come to the symposium. You know, one of the ways I've gotten some of the editorial coverage is I just invited the gal from, well, not the Central Post magazine, from New Times. I got some nice coverage too. And I just invited her over for a free consult. And I said no. And I didn't tell her she had to cover me. I just offered it to her. And she loved it and she wrote about it. So, like, having them come in and experience your service and not expecting anything, but if they like it, they're more apt to do something. So we're going to go over all those tools and tips. And also, you know, social networking is pretty big these days. So how do you integrate this with your Facebook and Twitter campaigns if you're doing that? We're not really going to go into that because that's just a whole nother world, and there's so much out there on that. But we'll talk about how you can tie your public relations into that. Okay, next slide. So do you want to hand out that flyer?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in, it's an 8-week series, so if you decide that you want to do it, you could do it, you could pay 2 months for $197 a month, or you could just pay it once, $347, and that's $50 off. And if you decide you really want to do it, you can register today, and then I'll give you an hour consult. You can come to my office, or we can do it over the phone whenever you want, and we'll start to help you to put a plan together so that when you come into the session, to the 8-week series, you've got something. And what was I going to say about that? So I normally charge, and my clients pay, because I have a PR firm. My minimum is $1,500 a month for my clients. So for you to learn how to do this for yourself, the basics. It's not like I'm teaching you how to become a PR pro, but how to do it for yourself. This could be so cost effective for you. You don't have to pay someone a lot of money to do it. And you don't have to pay a lot for advertising. It's just going to help to get you out there for really not very much. You just get one client and you're covered. So, also what I'm going to do is I really believe that this can help your business a lot. So, but you need to believe it. So, after the first 4 weeks, if this is an 8-week series. After the first 4 weeks, if you don't feel like you're getting anything out of it, you signed up for it, I'll give you all your money back. So I just want you to realize that I do think it would make a difference. And next slide. Okay, so just to give you an idea of the types of results you can get. So this is, the PR firm, my firm. So you can't really see the clients here. It's a little blurry, but Whole Living magazine, which is it's like it used to be Body and Soul. And one of our clients is Elemental Herbs. So she's a local company, and she does herbal-based skincare products. It's wonderful, but she sells nationally. So this was a recent issue of Whole Living that she's in. And we have another really cool client called Chocoveda. They make chocolate with Ayurvedic herbs in it, and it's really cool. Has anybody heard of this or had any? Pretty amazing. Well, we got her in Yoga Journal for like the holiday gift guide issue, which is pretty cool. And she's a pretty small company, so that was really neat. Delicious Living, I think that was a Chocoveda. And Better Nutrition, Natural Solutions, and LA Yoga for different clients. So you can see that these are the types of media that you might have something that could work for that too. So, but you need to understand how to work it. So, anyway, that's it. I'm happy to.
Used to be Body and Soul.
Yes.
Because I've been looking for Body and
Me
Soul.
too.
No, it's Whole Living now.
I didn't know they changed names either.
Yeah, it's a Martha Stewart publication now. She bought it. So.
It's Whole Living.
Yeah.
Huh.
I have a couple minutes for questions if anybody has anything. Yes.
So, just to make sure I'm hearing you right, because it's so exciting.
Yeah.
What you're doing. So you think, because I want to do more PR, but, and I know it's in the area, except it's expensive.
Yeah.
Hire someone like you. I mean, I don't have the $1,500. So
Yeah.
you're saying that with this workshop you're doing, that I probably could self-learn?
Yes.
And
Enough to be able to do it yourself.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
I could say, that's what I was wanting to do, but it seems like I'm getting $1,500 or $3,000 a month to have someone help me. But this will help me be able to just be like a.
You have to do it gives you the tools and the know-how to do it yourself.
Right.
You need to spend some time, but you don't have to, if you even put like an hour a week, every week into PR, you're gonna get some great results. You just have to know how to structure it and what to do. And otherwise you're out there right now looking at this and
And I thought
that.
I could even hire Cal Poly students to help me at $10 an hour with little things that I'm not that good at.
You can, but they're not going to be able to know how to do. Believe me, because I've hired interns. You're going to have. Just because they're journalists
Right,
and you're studying
right.
PR, they don't. Oh, okay. They don't. Yeah. You're going to have to direct them. It's great. You can get an intern to help you, but you first need to learn the steps and the essentials, and then you can direct them. But you can't expect them to know how to do it for you. So, but I think it's a great idea to use that resource once you know what you're doing. So you'll definitely get all the basics, and then be able to jump in there.
And it's a big, with the class and stuff that this will help lead me on how to get into those magazines or journals.
Yeah, we're gonna go into all that, like editorial calendars. And also I'm gonna give you guys templates and, you know, like little, I'm not saying workbooks, but worksheets for each class that you can put into a folder. And I'll be there for
So
questions
it's
and
pretty much
answers.
like hiring you, but I'm learning how to do it.
Exactly.
Like I do the labor, you do the teaching, and then
Then
you're
you have-
mentoring me.
Yeah, exactly. You have to do the work to make it happen.
That saves me a lot of money that way.
Yeah, that's what I figured, and that's
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of the holistic businesses, you guys are small and you can't afford to do that. And I've had so many friends, you know, want the help, but they can't really afford me. And I'm, you know, trying to help them out here and there, but it's like, well, if I get everybody together and I just show them the basis and we work as a group, then we can make it happen.
Yeah, and it's more empowering this way,
Yeah.
for us to be independent with it,
Yeah, and you could even form little, you
Yeah,
know, side
support,
groups or
yeah.
something. So
Yeah.
that's my thought. So if you sign up today, I'll give you that, like I said, that free one-on-one consult. And then, if, you know, otherwise I have your email and I'll continue to get you information. And my intention is to get this up and running by the first week in May. So I'll just keep you posted otherwise.
And do you foresee offering it again? I mean, I'll be gone part of May out of the country. Will you?
Yeah, I'm going to continue to offer it, and
Okay.
I'm also going to be recording it. And just to let you know, I decided to offer you guys that free, like that 1-hour consult, but I'm not going to be doing that regularly because I can't do that I'd be too busy. So I thought I would just do it this one time, you know, just for this group, but I'm not going to do that regularly. So, but yeah, so yeah, I'm going to keep offering it. So,
Okay, great.
okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.